Notion is continuing to improve our overall navigation experience in the workspace, and the latest update in that direction is the new library. As you can see here, the library is a new option in your sidebar, and if you click into it, you get this database-looking thing where across the top you have views for your favorites, recent, shared, private, and team spaces. And if you pay close attention, that maps basically to the sections that you have available in your sidebar. The library gives us a bit of control over our sidebar. So for example, you see shared is currently not present here. And I can right click this and I can say show section sidebar. Now I have it. And of course I can also hide this, right? Same, for example, with recents, this is a completely new section that is rolling out together with the sidebar, right? Which is basically always going to show you your most recently visited pages. And if you like that, you can keep it. If you want to hide it, right, you can do so. And you can actually like hide now pretty much everything for the first time, right? So you can hide your private pages. You can even hide your favorites if you wanted to. And that way, right, just create this very minimal sidebar where you might have only your favorites, team spaces, and that's it, right? I have, of course, also the agents from the beta that are hopefully soon releasing. But apart from that, right, gives us pretty much access to everything here. Also, if we click then on team space, right, that would show us a team space in our workspace, plus in a similar way that we have them here on the side. It's actually quite a neat way of seeing everything, right? Making sure what are the different access settings on these team spaces, how many members are in these team spaces, right? And then, of course, like with any other kind of pages, you can simply open them up, right, to see, okay, what is hiding behind them, right? And you get the same sort of like tree-like structure here over time. Now, that's pretty much, though, where the control of the library over your sidebar ends, right? So you can't change the order of things here by changing here, right? So let's hide our recents again. But if I swap recents and favorites here, right, they don't swap here. Like I have to do that separately and independently. So that is not automatically kept in sync. Same, one other thing that you can do on your library is you can actually add filters. So you see, right, if I'm looking at this, there are a bunch of properties. I can go to settings, like with all databases, but it's pure view settings. So since this is a system-generated database, similar to the new people database, right, that shows you all the members in your workspace, this database is not for you to configure. So you can only do the typical, hey, how are things displayed options. Most importantly, right, we can't just add properties to it. We can only see which properties exist. Curiously enough, right, we have this last visitor time, which is amazing. So you can go ahead, right, and you can say, hey, actually, when I'm looking at my library, I want to now sort my favorites by the ones that I have visited the last time, right, and sort of like the most recently visited one at the top. Now, again, important to know that this does not inherit to your sidebar, right? So sorting things here or filtering them will only affect your library, not the way it displays in the sidebar. If that would be the case, that would be pretty cool. But for now, right, the sidebar is still sort of this, what you see is what you get, with no controls over like exactly how things are then displayed. But yeah, so here we have now this last visit time. And then of course I could also add filters. So let's say, hey, I always want to see here the favorites that I had, right, created. I could say, okay, let's add a filter where created by, right, contains me. And that's the only thing I want to show here. And now my other favorites disappear, right? Again, they're still here in my sidebar, right? But if I look at the library view, they're now filtered out. Right now, the filters are also not too useful yet because you can't create your own additional views, right? I can't say, hey, these are my favorites and sort of like these are all favorites. There's no way to duplicate this view, right? Or to add a new one to it. So if you set a filter, right, you get permanently these like orange, icons that usually indicates, hey, you might want to save this view for everyone in other systems. Here it just tells you, right, you filter this down from the default view. Again, because there's no way to create like different ones. So you want to be always informed that, hey, this is actually not all your favorites, right? This is just a small subset. So yeah, that's pretty much it about the library. Now, quick few words of like how useful do I think this is and who is it for? I think generally this is a good step in the right direction. It makes Notion, again, easier for people who don't know how to use Notion, right? If you are particularly in a company environment where your Notion is used without a proper system, this will make it much easier to find stuff because you have, your favorites, right, to sort of filter through rather than just this ever-growing sidebar list. There's so many times when we look at a screen share with people and their favorites, take up more than 2 scrolls worth of screen real estate because that's the only way they have figured out how to manage sort of like what pages they want to access. And this will make it a little bit easier. Before you can create custom views, right? Only so far, but still every little bit helps. Same with recents, will make it much easier to jump back to, even though, of course, already now, right, you can just press search and you get your most recently visited pages. Still, makes it a bit easier to jump back to work. So in general, right, a step in the right direction. However, if you're using Notion the way you're supposed to use Notion, in my opinion, then you don't really need a library. You might still use it from time to time, right, to find pages. But if you set things up with a proper backend where all your data is organized in databases in the right location in an intuitive and easy to find way, right, then you're naturally already doing this. The library is sort of, in a sense, something where Notion says, hey, if you don't have a properly set up workspace, right, we are increasing the floor, right? You don't fall as deep into the chaos as you were previously. I think my biggest issue with the library, in particular in the context of team workspaces, is that it sort of like inverses the screen real estate that we actually would want to give to things. Ideally, right, we would have favorites, reasons, and then the team space where it should take up a lot more space than private and shared pages together. Because kind of like one of the things where we pay attention to when we go into a new client workspace is, well, how often do people show us one of their private pages or a page that, is in the shared area? And in an ideal world, it would pretty much never happen, right? What actually happens is that 80% of pages that we get introduced to, right, are either private or shared. And that's an issue because these pages are not in the general living system, right? I would say in a successful team implementation of Notion, 95%, probably 98% of content should live in the team spaces. You don't need many team space, right? Even if everything lives in one team space, that's perfect. But you definitely don't want to work from private and shared pages because that just means that you're creating silos, that your knowledge is distributed, and that you don't build the central structures that AI needs to make the most of it. So that's more like, like in terms of like nudging, right? I think like we could do probably a bit of a better job to nudge people in the right direction, but that's, complaining on a fairly high level. So if you know what I'm talking about, that's great, right? Then you probably spot the same patterns, but you can simply ignore that, right? And still work with your perfect team space structures. If you don't know what I'm talking about, right, then the library will still help you find information a bit better. In that case, I highly recommend, right, you check out a video that I've linked below down in the description on how to set up Notion for Teams, because it will make everything so much better. All right, so much for the quick look at the new Notion library feature. And now let's go to a speed run of 15 more Notion updates.
Update number 1, on-click animations for your buttons. To set them up, simply click on the 6 dots next to them and then the on-click effect. Currently, we only have confetti, but I'm already looking forward to some seasonal effects. Very important, this only works on buttons that are inline, not for your database buttons. Update number 2 is a big one if you've been looking to get emails into Notion. From Notion Mail, you can now finally push emails to your system. You can do so either on an individual email by clicking on the little Notion icon that will appear when you select it, or you can select any of your views that you have set up and then go to Settings and then here Database. Under Database, you can then select a database where you want to push emails, and all new incoming emails that come into this view will be automatically forwarded. So, for example, if you do it on your inbox view where all emails appear, everything will go in there. Now, very importantly, what gets input to Notion is basically a preview to your email. You can't fully interact with it yet, and there's no way to get the attachments over, but still, it's a great first step to true connectivity. Here's how this looks in practice. You get your new email with a subject line in Notion and then have this little call-out-like preview of the message. The cool thing is that this also keeps track of a thread. So if there are additional emails coming in, they will all be rendered on the same page. What it doesn't do yet is extract structured data. So you see there's no way to map sort of the recipient or the sender to a property. But you can use Notion AI and the new upcoming Notion agents to automatically extract that, doing pretty much whatever you want with the information. Update number 3 is another improvement for Notion Mail, an account switcher. So in the top left corner, similar to the way that Notion works, you can now switch between your accounts. This still isn't the unified inbox that I'm hoping for, right? That's pretty much the biggest thing that stops me from switching all the time to Notion Mail, but it's another step in the right direction. Update number 4 is a really cool step towards defining global variables in Notion. What you can now do in your automations is reference any page in your system, which means you could do something like creating a central variables database and then use it in other databases to dynamically insert stuff. So for example here, right, we might have a registry with our pages, and I have the page name and I just want to automatically generate the URL. So once I click on add URL, it automatically will inject that. But if I change my URL, well, let's say actually this is Matthias Frank minus consultant.de, and I click the button again, you see that it automatically updates that. And that's because if I go and look at my automation, we see that where I define a variable, I now define the domain and then take the thing that is in the value kernel. And that allows you to reference any value from any page that you have into your system. And when you update it there, it will automatically be updated in there. Pretty cool. There's a bit of a niche, of course, right, with these powerful automations, but in the right situation, that's a really cool improvement. Update number 5 is a UI improvement for Notion Calendar. You can now get rid of this permanent sidebar and instead turn it into a floating one that opens up whenever you click on any item. You can move it from the left to your right, and that just gives you a little bit more breathing room when you don't have anything selected. Update number 6 is a welcome improvement for all teams where engineering still wants to work in Jira for whatever reason. If you sync your Notion to Jira, you know that there's already an integration that allows you to pull in Jira tickets into Notion. That just has gotten a lot better, because now you can also add your own Notion properties next to the auto-generated and synced Jira properties, as you can see here. The Jira ones, they are always labeled with this little Jira icon, but now you can have your Notion ones side by side. And if you're on an enterprise plan for Notion, you can even edit some of those Jira fields in Notion and they will sync back properly to Jira. Speaking of really useful improvements for teams, we now get with update number 7, finally AI analytics in Notion. Now, the caveat is unfortunately that this is currently still only available on Enterprise, but I really hope it also comes to business. Basically, on Enterprise, you can now go to Analytics, and then you have this new AI tab, right? Under Analytics, you were always able to see general workspace activity, but now you can sort of specifically look at how AI is used in your workspace, right? What is the utilization, how many AI actions are being taken, and who takes what action, which really helps you drill down, right, around activation and see who needs more help to make the most of Notion AI, which is absolutely amazing. If your numbers don't look too good here, well, then let us know. We'd love to help. We do both AI activation workshops and also, of course, our signature 8-week transformation sprint to make sure the whole team is ready for it. And if you're looking for some free resources instead, right, we have our guide to using Notion AI the right way linked down below. Update number 8 is another improvement to the AI. We can now use Notion agents to create forms. So here I'm asking it to add a simple database to conduct a survey, right, to see who is using Notion AI and how well, and I'm asking it to also add a form to it. So let's check out survey responses, and in a moment, right, we will not just have our general table view there, but also a specific form that we can then share with participants so we don't have to build that ourselves. So there we go, all responses to view them and the survey form that we can share directly. Bit squished here, right, because I'm so zoomed in, but still pretty cool. Update number 8 allows you to just highlight any element on your page and direct the agent's attention to it. So for example, here I could now just drag my mouse right over certain elements of the page or select the whole block, and you see it automatically gets added as context here to the agent so it knows what to modify. Update number 11 and 12 are both about Notion AI on mobile. First, if you take meeting notes on mobile, you can now switch apps or lock your home screen without it stopping, which is quite useful, right? Because you don't have to just stare at this one Notion page for the whole meeting. And second, update number 11 is that you now have basically the full agent capability on mobile, so you should have the exact same experience whether you're on your desktop or on the go. And I personally use this all the time. Just start some work on the desktop, send the agent off to do like a long multi-step task, then go for a walk, and while you're walking somewhere, just check on the progress, quickly give some additional information and have it work on the next set so that when you're back with your laptop, everything is ready. Update number 12 is the last on our list and something I always pay attention to: acquisition news. Previously, for example, Notion bought Cron, which turned into Notion Calendar, and Skiff, which led to Notion Mail. Now, in Jan this year, Notion bought Embra, which is basically a kind of AI knowledge tool that focused really a lot on how to give agents consistent information and memory, right, across large amounts of data. Something that is perfect, right, and is really powerful for Notion agents. So I'm very curious to see what that will lead to in the future. I don't think that this will turn into a spin-out product like other acquisitions, but it should really help to boost, right, the development of that one agent in your system that has the context of pretty much everything that you're working on. Plot twist, update number 12 wasn't the last. There are actually a few more that have come out since I started filming this video. The pace from Notion is really incredible. So update number 13 is a quick option to help using Notion better with external AI tools. You can now click on the three dots in the top of the corner and then choose to copy the page contents. This will basically give you the whole text, right, as markdown, and you can then paste it into your tool of choice to make it a bit easier, right, to basically say, hey, here's a Notion page now, ChatGPT, please help me turn it into something else. Update number 14 is a small but mighty improvement for our plain tables. You can now, instead of just adding plain text, right, also add unordered lists. Simply add like the hyphen, right, and now it turns into a bullet list, so we can add something like 1, 2, and 3. Just a small one, right, but nice if you need to convey information in this plain table format. And update number 15, which really concludes our list for this time, is that if you go to your settings and then preferences, you can now choose how the date format should look. Right? So instead of having the default date mentioned with the relative one for add today, you can also say that you always want to see the full date. Right? Just to show how this works, right? Usually when you have your add command, right, and say add today, oops, you get the relative date, and then tomorrow this will show yesterday, and then sort of in a week from now it will start defaulting to the full date. If you want it to be the full date from the beginning, right, in your settings, you can now change that. So much for this Notion update report. Now, all these small and big changes are of course cool to keep track of, but if you want to roll out Notion to your organization and really use it for business, then you need to go beyond that and start to understand the frameworks that make good Notion workspaces tick. For that, we have a new free email course live on our website, link to that down below in the description. You can join it, and then for the next 7 days, you will get 7 frameworks, 5 minutes each, to make sure you get your Notion system to the next level, and you don't have this big, question mark that Notion is a big black hole and you don't know what to do with it. Or if you don't have the time to figure all of this out on your own, then, you can always hire me and my team. We help companies transform their operations in Notion in just 8 weeks. Again, link for that down below in the description. Otherwise, if you want to go down the do-it-yourself route, right, then I have here a really thorough tutorial that will teach you everything to learn about Notion from beginner to master. Just click here, and I will see you in a few seconds.